Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're wondering why we have this fancy schmancy or really ghetto looking setup, it's because we are going to attempt to upload this YouTube audio also onto our podcast. So it's been a while since we posted on our Barkdale's Unplugged podcast, and we want to try to start that back up. So
For sure.
it's kind of hard because I want to look at you, but I need to talk in the mic. So that's why we have these fancy schmancy microphones. So on my Instagram, I asked everyone to send me questions that you guys might want answers to. This is for me and Paxton. So we're just going to jump right into it, and I'm going to start reading off the questions that you guys sent. Okay, so the first one, we'll just start off with a hard hitter. And Paxton hasn't seen any of these questions before, so I'm interested to see what he says.
I feel like it's cheating that you have already.
I haven't thought much about them, but I have just briefly read through them. So, okay, the first one is, did you have sex before you were married?
Whoa.
I knew he was going to react
What
that
in
way.
the world?
And she's asking if we had sex together or if we had sex in other relationships.
What the heck?
Paxton, do you want to start off with this one?
Lord. Yes, with somebody else when I was 15.
So to answer the question, we did not have sex with each other. We waited until marriage, but
Yeah, I did not,
Paxton didn't wait until marriage.
unfortunately.
I waited until
Wow.
marriage.
Why in the world did you not tell me about this?
I'm like, I hope that's okay. I said ask juicy questions, and the people
Sure.
delivered.
Yeah.
They delivered. So
Yeah, I mean, it was before, I was a kid, 14, 15. And, it was a serious relationship, but, I was a kid doing stupid stuff before I really, had a solid foundation with Christ. Before I was really going to church and things like that. So, yeah, did.
And I feel like we could talk more on this topic, but we're probably not going to do that right now. But
Yeah, because I didn't know we were going to talk about it already.
Right. But it did have bring some challenges into our relationship. Just him having that history. And even though we didn't have sex together before marriage, doesn't mean that we were perfect. It was a really hard, but worth it journey. So I think I'm just going to leave it at that so we can move on to the next question.
Thank
Okay.
you. Leave it at that.
Okay. The next one's geared towards me. Actually, Paxton, no, I'm just kidding. It's definitely geared towards me. The question is, did you breastfeed? If so, how was your experience? That's the first part of the question. So let me just answer that really quickly. I did breastfeed, and I breastfed for 2 weeks. So definitely not as long as I wanted to. And it was difficult because when I was pregnant, everyone asked if I was going to breastfeed, which whether or not they should have asked that question, I don't know. And so I just kept saying, yeah, I'm going to breastfeed. And people would tell me that breastfeeding was hard, but nobody told me how it was hard. So in my head, I just thought breastfeeding was physically hard, and it totally can be. But breastfeeding was also hard because you're the only person who can nourish your child, and you're up with them all through the night, feeding them. And, you have to worry about your supply. You have to worry about mastitis. You have to worry about, okay, if I want to go hang out with friends or something, if I want to leave my baby, I have to pump enough. So I just wasn't prepared for all of those other aspects as to why breastfeeding was hard. And Hazel and I also had a difficult experience because she was having a really hard time latching. My mental health was plummeting, and around 2 weeks I got mastitis, and I almost feel like it was the Lord giving me a reason or giving me something that I could blame me quitting breastfeeding on. And I'm not saying the Lord gave me mastitis, but I definitely kind of see it as a positive now, because in that moment, looking back, I realized I felt like I needed a reason to be able to stop breastfeeding, and to help me with the guilt, the immense guilt that I felt. And I shared a lot about it when I was going through it, but the switch to formula, I felt so guilty. So guilty. And I think for me, having mastitis gave me okay, I had mastitis and like we just didn't make it through this whole breastfeeding thing. And I kind of blamed it on mastitis, but a lot of it was my mental health was plummeting through this whole experience. And I could talk about this for literally ever, but that's just kind of that. And as soon as I let go of that mom guilt, we had the best formula experience. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, babe.
Well, for anybody that has heard that a lot, that you need to breastfeed or you should, using those type of words, there are some babies in our lives right now that are breastfed, and there are some babies in our life that are formula fed, and on either spectrum, skinny, chunky. So don't let people fool you into thinking that formula isn't the best for your child, because whatever is best for your family is going to be best for your child. And
Right.
however your baby is fed will nourish them, and they will be the best selves in that regard.
Yeah, just to kind of end on that, I always told myself that, you know, people talk about what's best for the baby, and it's also in the best interest of the child that the mom is taken care of too. So that way I could be the best mom to
Can I
Hazel.
just say something though?
Yeah.
Why would y'all make formula if y'all were going to tell us that it's not good though? That's what I'm wondering. Why is there formula even though everybody says you need to do it, it's the best for your kid? Wouldn't we just start having people sell their own,
Right.
their own breast milk?
Yeah.
Which
people do.
But if it was the only best thing for your kid, if you were going to grow up with serious deformity, serious malnourishment,
Right.
don't you think they would have like a system for that? But they
Or
do.
like we
It's
would
called
hear-
formula.
I wanna hear about it more.
So
Yeah, like I said, I feel like a lot of these questions I have so many thoughts on, but for the sake of time and for the sake of we're running out of Hazel's nap time period, I feel like that was a good answer.
Yeah.
Right?
there's benefits to both.
Okay, the second question or the second part of that question was if we wanted more kids. Short answer, yes. Long answer,
No.
it's a really complicated question. Right now, I just don't feel like we're there, ready for more kids. This season of being parents has had a lot more challenges than I think we've really ever experienced. And so we kind of want to work through some of that. And there's just a lot that can go into parenting and like working through your own trauma, working through your own stuff. So that way we can be the best parents to Hazel. And so like, it's a loaded question. There's a lot that goes into this decision, but ultimately I do think I would love to give Hazel, at least one sibling. And I think because she's obsessed with babies, she loves, kids. Like I really want to do that for her. And I really would love to be a mother, to another child as well. But as far as the timing, if, we have any control whatsoever, which I know, like, do we really have control? But we would like to wait just a little bit, probably more of like a 3-year age gap between Hazel and the next child, like closer to 3 years is what I'm thinking.
Sounds good to me.
But obviously if it
It's
were
up
to
to
happen
you.
before, like, I think we're both in a place where we're like, we would just roll with it, and it wouldn't affect us that deeply. But I just think like we're not actively trying for a kid right now. So there's that.
Okay.
Celebrity crushes or a childhood celebrity crush. This is kind of a funny topic for Paxton because
Yeah.
well, you just go ahead and tell them who's your celebrity
You
crush.
offend me when I say this. You know what? She's famous for a reason. Okay.
Okay, well let's just hear it.
Which it might just be that she's a great actor, but anyways, my celebrity crush is Anne Hathaway.
I have some thoughts about this because, of course, I think she's beautiful.
Can I just say something though?
Sure.
Let me just say this, okay? Everybody has different seasons of their life, right? I used to have a really long beard, and when I look at those pictures, I don't look as good as I do today, right? Also, she's an actor who plays different roles.
All I'm saying is
Different roles, different hairstyles.
do your
And
homework.
you know what? If you want to say she didn't look good in Interstellar,
All I'm saying
which
is
is
look
what you
her up
wanna
in
say?
Interstellar.
Okay, so you're gonna shame her?
I'm not shaming her.
You're
I'm just-
shaming her?
No.
Then what's wrong with my choice?
Nothing's wrong with her choice. All I said was just look her up in Interstellar and let me know what you think.
Yeah, let us
So
know.
I actually had a realization. I was looking on this 90, like,
If you look up pictures of her now on Instagram, I'm just saying.
okay, dang, Paxton, go off.
I think she had
But-
like a green dress on one time. Uh-oh.
And it's also interesting because I'm like, okay, well, Anne Hathaway looks nothing like me. So, like, is that your type?
I like Zendaya too a lot.
But then he also said he likes Zendaya, and I'm like, okay, well, me and Zendaya kind of look alike. Like, do you like her better than me?
What?
I know you can't win, but that's just my thought process.
I couldn't even keep up with that.
My celebrity crush, I actually had like this aha moment. For the longest time, I said Justin Bieber, and Justin Bieber will always have a special place in my heart. But if we want to talk about like childhood crush, like I actually had I've never actually had a crush on Justin Bieber, but like growing up, I had a mega crush on Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh yeah.
Like him in Titanic.
I
I think
do
that's what
too.
I saw. I saw like behind the scenes photos of like him in Titanic, and it made me realize like he was actually my celebrity crush. I keep hitting this.
I have a crush on him now, if we're being honest.
I just love him. I love
So
the
charming.
roles that he's played. I don't know. He looks just like a very typical middle-aged man now, but he's aged well.
Yeah, he's very charming.
All right. Moving on. What is something you dream of doing?
You want me to start? I don't know.
I
I got to
start.
think for a second.
I think a really big dream of mine would be to either build a house or to renovate a house and to make it completely feel like my own space. And I think another dream would either be to kind of going on the theme of like houses would be to either rent out this current house or to be able to like do some type of what's the word, to be able to like kind of give it in some way, whether that's like we help out like a family who's struggling and we just like rent it out for really, really cheap and like affordable, or we do it for free, or I don't know, like I've always kind of thought about this house and like would love to eventually like Lord willing, like us be able to kind of use it to benefit others, whether that's giving them a really heavily discount on rent or letting them live here for free or just letting like a college student in need or something like that. But then there's also days where I'm like, I'm so over this house. I just want to sell it. So we'll see where that goes.
Love this house. I love this house. My safe space.
It is a good house, but there's just like, I mean, it's an older home. So there's just things of an older home that I'm like, do I want to fix this or I just want to sell it? That's just my
true.
thought process.
Yeah.
That's one of my dreams. Have you thought of one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much for myself right now. That's just where I'm at. It's kind of sad, but
Yeah.
I just want to see my girls succeed. So I want to see Hazel grow up and succeed in everything she does and grow up healthy emotionally, physically, spiritually, and the same for you.
Oh, that was really sweet.
I want to see your dreams come true.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Well, I feel the same way about you. I want to see.
No,
all
you
that.
already said what your dream was.
No, I mean, they said dreams plural. And that's just like the first thing that comes to mind because I'm in the process of kind of doing little home projects around the house. So just like homes are on my mind. But
I don't have much on my mind. That's probably why I went big.
yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any like big dreams. Obviously, like I would love to travel more. I feel like that's the case for a lot of people. And the more that I travel, like this past year, we've had really cool opportunities to go on different trips. But the more I travel, the more I want to travel because I realize there's so much out there that we haven't explored. But that's definitely a dream of mine. I'm trying to think if there's any
It's
like
good.
overarching. I feel like in a lot of aspects, we are living out a lot of the dreams that we've had for our lives, which is really
Yeah.
special and really cool to think about. Just, it makes me think of that song, A Million Little Miracles. Like there's just so much now that we've dreamed for that we're currently living in. And that's really special. So,
True.
okay. Let's see about more questions. Name each other's dream vacation destination at the same time on the count of 3.
Wait.
So how about we start off like the first time we'll say my destination, my dream destination at the same time, and we'll see if it's right. And then we'll say like what we think your dream destination is.
I don't even feel like I have one.
I don't feel like you have one either, but
Well, let's just do yours and maybe I'll think of something. And you know what? I'm going to say this and you're going to be like, not anymore. So if it's in the top 3, then I still get it.
okay. Because it does change, but I feel like this is still
Like every month it changes.
No, I feel like this is still one of my top.
Okay, 1, 2,
Two.
3.
Greece.
Boom.
That's always been a place I really, really wanted to go. But recently I have said like Hawaii or just really Europe in general. I would love to go to like Italy, France, Switzerland.
I have one right now that I want to go to, but it's not a dream one. I just want to go there soon.
Okay, wait, give me. I have absolutely. Wait, can you give me a hint? Is it in the U.S. or is it like
It's
overseas?
in the U.S.
In the U.S. Okay.
I've been here before.
Oh. So this isn't like your dream vacation. This is just somewhere you want to go right now.
Yeah, I don't even know if it would be vacation. I mean, it would, but
Okay. Count it down.
1, 2, 3. New
Tennessee.
York.
You've been in New York before?
Yeah, as a kid.
You literally
was
had
like
me
10.
guessing like Tennessee. I was thinking like, I don't know, South Carolina, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee.
Oh my gosh.
I did not know you'd been to New York before.
Been to Virginia, been to New York.
So we've actually been talking about
Been
our
north.
5th year anniversary is coming up this July. And we are kind of contemplating if we want to go to New York for our anniversary, but it's kind of overwhelming because I don't want to stay in Times Square, but like I want to stay at a central location so we can use public transportation pretty easily. And so just if you're watching this on YouTube, I just need you to comment below things to do in New York, must sees, must do's, where to stay,
And how to do it.
and how
like,
to do it.
From what I've
public
seen, we
transport-
should just do taxis. I've heard the subway's really bad. Also, I've experienced the subway and it's decently bad.
I don't know anything about it.
Can't remember much about it except that I didn't like it. I don't like riding the subway at all anyways.
Yeah.
I had a mental breakdown on one in Virginia.
Yeah, I feel like that's valid.
Yeah.
Scary.
My feelings are valid. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's like a little therapy session. Okay. How to support a husband who is in ministry. For those of you who may not know, Paxton is the kids pastor or elementary pastor at our church. And by the way, if you are watching this on YouTube, I feel bad because this microphone is like in our faces.
Yeah.
So
We'd have to
maybe-
buy some ones that like
We
are,
should get,
pick
like,
up more sound.
Britney Spears mics.
I have one of those, but I don't think it'll work on my computer.
Anyways, if we'll hopefully try to find a better solution to all of this. But
We could
shout
get
out-
$500 mics.
Oh,
That's what we'd have to do.
maybe I'll get like a brand deal or that makes me like a millionaire.
With Shure. That's
I
what
don't even
they're
know what that
called.
is. But anyway, shout out to Paxton for even doing this setup. It was a huge mental load, like trying to figure out how to do this. And we still don't really know if we're doing it well or right. So I just want to give a shout out to you, babe. Thank you for doing this. What was the question? Oh, how to support a husband in ministry. My answer on this, honestly, might not look like a lot of other people's answers. So when I think of how I've supported Paxton in ministry throughout the years, it's basically changed from season to season. So when we first got married, I was working at a local boutique and Paxton was working like 2 jobs at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
2 part-time.
2 part-time jobs, and like not like we were making like good money, but we were making livable money. And Paxton got a position. He was offered a position at the church. It was just for like 10 hours a week or like very, very part-time. And we knew it wasn't going to cover a lot of our bills, or like we were going to take some pay cuts with this job. And so the way I supported him in that season was, obviously we prayed about it, and he quit both of his part-time jobs to pursue ministry because he knew that he was called to it. And at the time, I was like, we were both still in college. I didn't really know what I was called to do as far as job-wise. And so the way that I supported him in that season was financially. Like, I was the breadwinner during that season of life. And by the way, we don't have any problem if I am the breadwinner ever. Like, Paxton's confident in his manliness to where that's a non-issue for us if I was to be the breadwinner for long-term. Anyways, I was a breadwinner during that season. And so obviously I didn't feel like my huge
breadwinner. That just sounds funny.
It does sound funny. Obviously I didn't feel like my big purpose and calling in life was to work at this boutique that I was working at. It was definitely a stepping stone, and the Lord definitely used it. But I just kind of remained on my stepping stone while he was able to fully jump into his calling and pursue that and take a pay cut. So that's why I supported him then.
Does that mean that I was the bread loser? Because my dreams were being fulfilled.
No, I just think
I was winning.
I just think you weren't gathering bread. I don't think you were losing bread, but I just was gathering.
Well, no, we took a pay cut,
you.
and you were you would be the brain winner. You would be the breadwinner because you're making more money. So what does that make me in other people's eyes? I guess in a sense
you did make us lose bread.
So if you're the breadwinner, what am I, the bread loser, or am I the bread pauser? I paused making bread.
I mean,
homemade bread is so good.
But you were technically making bread.
I was learning how to make bread.
Wait, is that why people say like dough, like making dough? Because like making bread, is that just like a terminology for making money?
But dough is a prerequisite. So you have to make dough before you can make bread. So
maybe you were just the dough maker. You were making dough while I was making bread. Amen. Winning bread. I like that.
Winning.
So then, after he was a little bit more established. Wait, what am I saying? Oh, after you were a little bit more established in your ministry, I started to support him by volunteering at the church. I would volunteer with the kids on Sunday mornings, and that's the area that Paxton was in. And so now that we have a daughter, it's almost like I feel like the way people think of supporting your husband or supporting anybody in ministry is to be heavily involved in the ministry, to be showing up at every event. But it's almost like in this season of life, me showing up less is me showing up and supporting you more because of the season of life that I'm in. I'm a new mom. Our daughter is very young, and I've decided that while he's pursuing his calling, the roles have kind of flip-flopped to where now I can kind of pursue my calling as well. And that's in this role of being a mom and also being a content creator, if we're going to talk about money-wise. But right now I'm talking about being a mom. And so by me pursuing and being really present with Hazel and being the one to, okay, I can't stay for all 3 services on a Sunday morning because I have to leave and put Hazel down for a nap, just practical things like that too. Or we can't stay late on Wednesday nights because Hazel goes to bed and I'm not willing right now to compromise her bedtime just to stay an extra hour at church. So I am in a way unable to show up at a lot of these events, or if there's events that are happening on the weekends and there's no childcare, it's me who has to kind of stay back with Hazel because he is on staff at the church. And it's obviously he kind of takes precedent in showing up for those things. So the way I'm supporting him right now looks like me not showing up as much at church so I can be home with our daughter. And that's just the season of life that we're in. You know, maybe when she starts school, when she goes into preschool, I'll have a little bit more availability with that. But you don't have to be, in order to be a good pastor's wife, whatever that definition is, you don't have to sell your soul to the church in a sense. Is that a weird phrase to say?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
No, it makes sense. You're doing great.
You don't have to.
Great pastor's wife.
I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like there's this concept or this notion that in order to be a good pastor's wife, you should be at the church just as much as your husband is. But the reality is the church isn't paying me. And I'm not saying you can only work and volunteer at a church and be at the church if you're getting paid, but realistically, we cannot be a one income family. So I have to, even though we're not having to pay for like a daycare, which I know is a huge chunk of money, I need to work just for like our regular bills. And I need to be home with Hazel because we don't have daycare. Am I making sense here?
Yep.
Okay.
All sense made.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm making sense. Through and through, though, through all those situations, I feel like I also support him by being the one at the end of the day that he can come home to kind of just decompress some things maybe that happened at work. Being a pastor is a very unique job in the sense that, you know, you kind of take some of the burdens and some of the things that you deal with at work home versus when I was at the boutique, I clocked out and I literally did not think about my job until the next time that I clocked in. Well, his job is a little bit different and it's a lot heavier. And so I kind of help him bear some of those emotional weights too and help him decompress and kind of share the things that are going on so he's not carrying all that alone.
And you're doing good at it.
Thanks, babe.
And I appreciate you.
Also helping with like mental health things, just making sure that I'm available in that capacity as well. So is there anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like we can always do better though to support our people. That's just kind of what's been the thing for me right now. Okay. My fiance and I are an interracial couple. How have y'all addressed your cultural differences?
Let's go.
First of all, we just jumped right in. Like, for one aspect, and you're going to laugh when I tell you this, but
What?
when we got engaged, I remember one of the biggest things I was nervous about was him seeing my natural hair, not just like in my element, like my natural hair like this, but like my natural hair at night, my natural hair in the morning. And I was scared for him to see Bonnet Miley. And if you follow me on Instagram, you already know where I'm going with this. Like Rat Tail Miley, Kodak Black Miley. A new one that I recently just got was that little girl from the Polar Express. That next girl. People said that I look like her, which is like, where's a lie? That's so true. I do look like her. But I was really nervous for him to see just like my crazy hair.
Sure.
And I guess, is that a cultural difference? I mean, like our hair is different, you know?
Yeah.
So whereas people who have straight hair or just finer hair than me can go to sleep and their hair might look a little crazy when they wake up. My hair, like, I almost am like, should I insert a picture here for our YouTube watchers? But I don't know.
We'll see.
My hair is like, I look crazy. And it's funny that we're bringing this up because I don't know, every now and then I will ask Paxton, does it bother you that like I look like this half the time? And he's literally never said a word about it. He's amazing for that. But I just am like, wait, I'm realizing my hair looks really dumb. Even though it's just what I need to do for some protective hairstyles. So
yeah, I never knew about protective hairstyles.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other cultural differences you can think of?
No, not off the top of my head. Maybe I would have if you would have given me a heads up on some of these questions.
You know what? I actually was going to, but then
because you know that I'm an external processor, so I haven't even thought. It takes me a little bit.
My apologies.
To bring it in. Yeah.
If we do another one of these, I'll give you a better heads up. I was gonna text him the questions, and again, like I said, I just forgot.
Did you? I thought you did. You say you were gonna send me the questions?
I didn't tell you that, but I thought it.
That's the problem.
Cultural differences. We've also been, for the most part, we are really lucky to have not had people giving us side eye when they see us together or people making comments under their breath or to our faces about us being together.
I feel like me and you didn't have cultural differences that we didn't know about or had already been immersed in because of where we're at. Columbus, Georgia is pretty diverse. Mm-hmm. And, you know, our church is. So, I don't know. I also wanted to add, I wonder if this
added to it, but your sister is Black.
Yeah.
So you were also kind of already immersed in Black culture
Yeah.
and that aspect of things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely impacted me
Right.
as well.
Okay.
I like that mocha skin.
Another question was how to keep the spark alive after your first kid comes along. We are struggling. Girl, we are too.
Let me see who did that. Let me see.
It's that one. How to keep the spark alive after your first kid.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a good question because it's a real struggle. And
Very real.
we're still figuring that out. I mean, Hazel's not even a year and a half, or she is a year and a
19
half.
months, yeah.
And I will say it definitely takes a lot of intentionality. And I can tell when our intimacy, and not just physical intimacy, but our overall intimacy is struggling. And it's the times when we're not having like real conversations, like good communication, when we're not spending intentional time with each other. And so something that I feel like we're pretty good at is just at the end of the day, this is kind of what our nights look like. Hazel goes down at 7:30, and then for like an hour or like 30 minutes to an hour, we kind of do our own alone time, like our alone time. We do our own things. And that's really good for us because it kind of allows us to fill up our own tank before we can start giving again. And it gives us that time to be our own person for a little bit. We really thrive off of that. And then for the rest of the night until we go to bed, we will either watch a show that we've been enjoying, which, by the way, please give us show recommendations because we are kind of at the end of our ropes with our seasons that we're watching.
Yep.
And we'll either do that, or there was a season where we were playing board games like every night, and it was the best thing ever. So I'd say nightly we rotate with that intentional time with watching a show or playing a board game. And we make it like I think we both would agree that we look forward to that time together because we make it a big deal and we make it like a non-negotiable. Basically, there's never a night where we just assume we're not gonna do that. Like if we have something else planned, or if he wants to do a guys' night, or if I want to go do something with friends, we talk about it. And then even still, usually we'll make it back in time to even do like 30 minutes of our show, or we'll try to still work that in.
Yeah. We'll just stay up later.
Yeah, and we'll stay up a little bit later. But I think that we really enjoy that is the fact that we, and I don't know if this is like healthy, but we're big onto like snacks.
Oh, buddy.
So it's kind of funny that we do this. We feel almost, guilty is the word?
I feel passionate about snacking at night.
Passionate. So we won't just like go to the grocery store and like get our movie night snacks for the week or our show snacks. We, for some reason, go every night or every other night. We'll make a run to Publix to get snacks.
I have a reason that I do that.
So Paxton is, okay, he discovered this brand Talenti ice cream. Gelato. Is it gelato?
Yeah.
It's gelato. Cookie Crunch, to be specific.
Caramel Cookie Crunch, man. Just try it and your life will be changed.
Your life absolutely will be changed. And I can tell you that because my life was changed. So he ate this every night, and I kept telling him, Paxton, I'm going to stick to my Halo Top. It's a little bit healthier. I don't feel like we should be eating this.
She made me quit. She made me quit for like 6 days.
Oh, but there was something else that went into you quitting also. Should we elaborate?
I can't really remember. Never mind.
Okay, yeah, you remember?
I was having some stomach issues at the time, but turns out it wasn't Talenti, but it was probably adding on to it.
Right.
Anyways, I go every night because if I do it all at once, you roast me. Indeed, you did today because it was buy one, get one. You told me to get some, so I bought like 6 because that's the equivalent of buying 3, and we buy 2 a night. So, but then she roasted me, so I'd rather do it every night instead of buying it in the beginning of the week.
Because in my brain,
you roast me
when I see
at the end of the week.
When I see that we spent like $30 on Talenti, I'm like, that's so much money. But if we do it every night, I'm like, oh, I guess when you really add it up, it is like $10 a night.
Yeah. If we did it, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
this
would have
been $30 and 5 times 6 would have been $30, and I spent 15. And we do that in 1.5 nights.
Okay, I do feel
For
like
a
we
week
don't
of
do
snacks.
it every night. I'd say we do it 2 to 3 times a week. But now that we have it in bulk, like tonight, this would have been the 3rd night in a row. I'm like, oh, that's what I want because we have it. But if we don't keep it on hand and we have to make a separate trip to Publix, I'm less likely to eat it. We also really like Skinny Pop popcorn, but the original is the best flavor.
I think
Is
I'm
that it?
getting
Does that
over
answer
it.
the question?
The smell of Skinny Pop lately has been like really messing with me.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe I think my smeller is jacked from COVID a little bit too.
Smeller. Good thing you don't have a nose because that could be an issue.
Yeah. I do remain still to have a smeller.
Come
Not-
again?
I have
Do
a s-
remain still?
Yeah. This too shall pass that I do have a smeller, not a nose. So
You're
Voldemort
talking in
style.
like a different language. Intimacy. Keeping the sparkle alive.
Oh yeah.
Date nights. That's something. Okay, this is actually
We
ironic.
don't do date nights.
We don't do date nights as much as we really need to. I'd say like our track record right now is like once a month, if that.
Well, then this is the answer. Date nights don't work. What does work for us?
No, date nights would help with intimacy, but we don't do date nights, so we don't know. We need to be better at date nights. But I will say this.
Do we though?
I will actually. No, I take that back. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know this is real life. This has been the case. When we have done date nights, it's been like a spontaneous Justin Bieber concert. It's been a John Mayer concert. We just did Universal Studios really spontaneously. And that has been within like a 2-month span, if that, maybe like a month and a half. So maybe that's why we just haven't felt the need lately to go do a specific date night.
Well, before that, we didn't either. I think maybe the thing is just being spontaneous, being intentional with each other to be spontaneous.
Yeah, I like that.
So, I mean, you weren't going to be like, oh, I want to go to the Justin Bieber concert. I'm going to go with my friend.
Right, like I wanted
You
to go
thought
with
about
you.
it as a thing we could do together. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that is part of it. But it's not like we called that date night, and we did at the last moment.
Right. We're like,
Like
oh,
when
this
we-
is like a really expensive, spontaneous date night.
Like on stories, we were like, it's date night. But like before that, we were just like, we're going to a concert together. You see what I mean?
yeah. So, but maybe
Still
that's why
qualifies,
I
though.
don't feel like we're, like our intimacy is necessarily lacking in that, like, quality time.
Yeah, it's not
aspect.
lacking because we're not having a date night.
Right. Because we are spending intentional time together, whether it's spontaneous or whether it's very planned every
Yeah.
nightly. So I do like the spontaneity of it because it, like you use the word spark. And when I think of spark, it just feels very like fun and the word spark feels very spontaneous. And so much of our lives now that we have a daughter is not spontaneous at all. It's very like
very
routine.
planned.
Like we really value her sleep and her sleep routine. And so that aspect of our lives is very planned. And so whereas before our date nights used to be planned, we're like really leaning into just spontaneous, like, hey, let's go do this weekend. Or like yesterday we went and we drove around and we looked at like fancy expensive houses, and that was like fun for a little bit.
Because
Paxton
we're
didn't love-
buying one.
No. I literally wish.
We got some big houses here, though.
Yeah. So, some people say date night every week, and I definitely see the benefit of that. I say intentional time every week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's different seasons.
Right. That is also true. Different seasons. call for
We
different
don't do
things.
date nights every week right now, but who knows? We might in the future.
And I do think we're really good about like at least doing one vacation a year. Like I think we've done that ever since we've been married.
I will say, I think once a week, if you're counting going out to a restaurant and getting food once a week, I think we do that because
We
once a
eat
week,
out.
we bring home Burger King
That's true.
and watch our show
Oh my
together.
gosh. Why am I embarrassed that you just admitted to be eating at Burger King?
Oh, man. We eat at Burger King once or twice a week. Don't lie.
It's only because we live right next to one. If it was a Chick-fil-A, it would have been Chick-fil-A.
And it's $4. No, Chick-fil-A is like $10
They
per
raised their
person now.
prices. I can't afford Chick-fil-A.
Burger King is $4 per person. That's like buying a thing
Depends
of
on what you
Talenti.
get.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. It depends. You can't get a meal for $4. Actually, they did.
You don't need to get a
they
meal.
did do this thing where it was like you could get. Why am I telling about you? What am I?
'Cause we love Burger King. We
I
love
just
Burger
stuttered
King.
so hard.
I'll talk for you. Burger King is amazing, and I get a double cheeseburger plain with 2 value fries and 3 ranch.
That's a hot take. That's like, I feel like we're in
So
college with
good.
that. Like, we don't go to Taco Bell as like our,
Oh, I can't.
oh, I just want cheap
It
and
hurts
like
me.
quick food. We go to Burger King.
Yeah. And McDonald's hurts me too.
Yeah, we don't do McDonald's.
And it hurts others.
And we really don't do Wendy's. We do Burger King and Chick-fil-A and
Yeah,
Zaxby's.
Wendy's sucks, man.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to make some people mad.
I know. I feel like these are hot takes and people are going to like be really grossed
And I'm tired of
out that we do
Chick-fil-A
Burger
too,
King.
dude. I'm tired of Chick-fil-A, dude. I'm not tired of their fries or their sandwich. I'm tired of the smell and the price.
Okay, that's valid.
Because I just thought about eating it. Oh, wait. I haven't had lunch yet. And it's 2:30, so actually I'm just hungry. I am tired of Chick-fil-A, but not when I'm hungry.
But you're not tired of the food. You're tired of the ambiance and the price.
I don't want Chick-fil-A right now, but when I think about eating the fries and the thing, I do.
Yeah,
I'm just hungry.
I don't actually really know what to do with that information you just provided me with.
Oh, you know what? I thought that was the time now. What time is it now? Because I was looking at your phone screenshot.
Oh, it's okay. So my phone screenshot said 2:21. It's really 2:32. It's not that big of a
Wow, that's still a
difference.
good guess for me though, because I thought it was your phone.
Okay, Sparkle Live. Did we answer that?
We answered it. Next one.
Yeah, we have to be intentional
do
with
each
the
other.
times that we do each other.
You got to make time to do that. Now on to the next question.
We have to be intentional at the time that we do each other because we have a little doohickey running around.
That's true. That's true.
Anyways,
Next question.
I've never referred to Hazel as a doohickey. That's kind of funny to
It
think
is
about.
funny.
Okay, we're rearing the end of these. I'm so sorry.
Rearing.
We're rear ending these. How do you manage content creating whilst having a baby/child? I'm on this journey at the moment.
Can I just answer?
Are you gonna say something about the?
I haven't got to
the
answer a lot.
Sorry, go for it.
I just want to answer. Okay. Number one, you quit your job. You quit your 9 to 5. And, okay, number one, you start for 4 years and then you quit your 9 to 5. And then you have a baby and you take a risk on doing content creation. And then you get your mother-in-law to watch Hazel or your baby twice a week so that you can have those days to work. And then you put in the work to get brand deals.
Are you sure this was the question?
This
you
is
should have
everything.
Answered?
This is
Do you
everything
feel
that you
confident
do.
in your answer because it was a question geared towards me?
And you put money into the things that you need even before you are making the money to buy those things because you're taking the risk still.
That leap of faith.
That's all I got, man. I'm signing out, man.
Yeah, Paxton needs to eat lunch because his brain isn't functioning at
hungry,
its full
man.
capacity, I think. But that is a very valid point. I do want to point out that I did quit my job, not even intentionally to do content creation. It just kind of I just kept doing what I was doing and it worked out. And so I will say if you have a full-time job or even like another part-time job, this could definitely add to the difficulty of things. But the way I manage it is I really only work on my content creation stuff like 3 days a week. Obviously, I will sometimes answer questions other days of the week, but I do try to have good boundaries about when I'm working on things. And it's really just whenever I have someone to watch Hazel. So Paxton's mom watches Hazel 2 days a week. And then on Fridays, Paxton's home. And so sometimes he'll watch Hazel and I'll do things. But mainly we try to do family stuff on the weekends when he's home and we're together. But yeah, I really just try to do the bulk of my work on those 2 days that I have childcare. And then if there's like an occasional shoot or deadline that I really need to meet, I will try to work around nap time. Or I try to do it with Hazel kind of running around if I'm answering emails, or I'll have a friend and I will go shoot like when Paxton gets home from work and he can be with Hazel for a little bit. So I hope that helps a little bit. Just working around nap times, utilizing childcare if you have it. And then Hazel is also going to go to a preschool starting in the fall. And that'll be 3 mornings out of the week. So,
And how do you support an influencer? If you're a husband or a wife, you learn how to take pictures.
yes.
And
Come on.
research how to
Instagram
use
husband.
research how to use a camera what camera you should buy, and
And you go along with my dreams. Like if I want, or my,
yeah.
like some of my leaps of faith, like when
Yeah.
I was buying that Instagram course to invest into. Like
Which
this
that's a
was-
given for me, but
That's true.
yeah. But yeah, you got to do that too.
Paxton's very supportive with content creation and all that stuff. And even this, like, look at him right now. You know, our guy. What a guy. Literally on this YouTube /podcast, if we can figure out how to upload it to our podcast. He's the best. Do either of us feel judged about tattoos? She constantly feels judged. Short answer for me is no.
I don't feel judgment, but I think about it because of the unique job that I'm in.
And I do think there's specifically two people I can think of that do probably judge you, whether or not you care about that judgment or
But they're not at my church.
they're not at the church, which is interesting.
It is such a hard thing to deal with, but I think there are things that everybody's judged for, and you got to weigh the risk and reward. So, but tattoos is one of the things that I'm getting no matter what.
Right.
So
and we also,
I'm not sorry about that, but I do feel like that might come off as selfish, but I'm like, I don't know.
because it's not like you're sinning. You know, it's not like what the reason they're judging you is because they probably think you're sinning, but you know the truth and you know that you're not sinning by getting a tattoo
I
because
know
you
that I'm
read
not
the
sinning.
scriptures and context.
Yeah.
So really the judgment is coming from a lack of context on their end. And so we can't really cater our lives to fit the mold of
Of a
what somebody
fake.
else is misinterpreting.
Yeah.
Sorry if that sounded harsh.
Well, it is harsh because it's a difference in beliefs. And so if you're dealing with that, part of the relationship with those people, number one, if you're close, you need to still love them no matter what. So no matter how angry or something that may give you, you guys hopefully aren't going to argue every time you see each other
Right.
about that. Number two, if they're like close to you in a friendship kind of way, they might have some input in your life, and just take it into account and then be like, okay, I'm done talking about this if it gets uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, you might not really know them at all. You might just see them in passing, and treat that how you would healthily treat any other criticism.
Yeah.
Hey, does this make sense for my life? If not, then just put it away. It's not like their judgment actually affects something in your life, your job, your relationships, anything like that. Unless they're coming at you. There's a lot of factors, but I don't know. Hopefully that helps.
And hopefully you can both be respectful in how you communicate your beliefs and how you kind of,
If they're
no
not,
matter what you decide to do, hopefully everyone involved can be respectful. And if they're not being respectful, then
if they're not being respectful and they don't have some sort of hold over you, like job wise or, abusive wise. I mean, I don't know certain situations, but honestly, both of those situations I would just want to get out of.
right.
Because really, what does it matter? It's just tattoos.
Right. It's just displaying your personality through art.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
This is the last question. You guys asked some amazing questions. Like I've had the best time answering these. And this one was actually through DM. And so this person asked, how have you introduced your daughter to positive body image? What age do you think you should bring up positive body image? Because she has 2 daughters and she's conflicted about how to approach the subject. So the biggest thing that I think we're starting right now is I do not allow myself to talk negative about my body in front of Hazel, especially in front of Hazel. Now, I will say this is a journey for me. I'm not the type of person who just doesn't have any insecurities, because I definitely do, especially after having a baby. Everything was just heightened and peaked. And I still feel like my body is foreign to me. And that's the part that has been so difficult for me, is because I still feel like a stranger in my own body. And like I said, it's been a year and a half. I feel like I should be over this by now, but I'm not. So especially, I'm not going to say ideally, I wouldn't say anything negative about my body ever. That is my goal. That is what I'm working towards. But because I know I'm probably not necessarily there yet, although I do feel like I've done a better job. I mean, there's moments where I kind of confide in Paxton and will tell him what I'm struggling with. But overall, I feel like I've done a much better job of not just picking myself apart in the mirror. but I don't ever want to say anything negative about my body, about my stomach, about my hair, about my insecurities in front of Hazel, because I know my voice, the way I speak about my body, is going to become her inner voice. And that to me is enough to cut that out. Like it's not worth it. When I put that into perspective, to me, I'll do anything so that way she can grow up with a healthy body image that so many of us probably, if we're being honest, don't have and didn't grow up having that modeled for us. And so I know, especially being her mom, I have a ton of influence in that area. So I know it'll be really powerful for me to not only not speak negatively about myself and about her. Like, I never want to point out anything negative physical about her. Like, I want to be really good about not doing that as she gets older, but to also speak good things about myself, and maybe not even about just the body image, but like what our body's made for. Like, oh my gosh, my body is so strong versus my body is so skinny. My body is so this, or my body is not this. So talking about like how strong our bodies are, talking about how our appearance is the least interesting thing about us, so whenever I compliment her or I give her praise, I say things like, Hazel, you're so creative, or I love how hard you worked on this puzzle, or how diligent you were and how determined you are. And so that's something that I'm even starting now is, of course, I still tell her she's beautiful. Like, she's beautiful. She's absolutely beautiful. And I 100% think that. But in addition to the physical compliments that I'm giving her now, I'm giving her compliments about who she is, because ultimately that's what matters.
Yep.
Is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, I would say for me as a kid, this is just my personality. But if somebody like that had influence in my life was wanting to teach me about body positivity, especially putting a name on it, younger than, your teenage years, it would have most likely made me overthink that area and give in to the sentiment around body positivity in a negative way, I think that, there are some things going on in our world right now that we do put names on as adults and we understand what it is. But when they're kids, for instance, if I was to teach Hazel about, a biblical story that involves ancient, times when people sacrificed goats, and everybody around the world did that, including people that love God, I'm going to explain that differently to her. Like when Moses in the last plague, they had to kill their lamb, eat it, and then put the blood on the door. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not going to introduce the blood thing for a while. I'm also not going to introduce sacrificing animals for a while. But I will sit down at the dinner table and talk about a little boy named Moses who was meant to be an amazing person. I would focus on how he was adopted. My sister was adopted, and so adoption is a special thing. And, focusing on that parts of somebody, I think is a good way to approach anything that could have a negative consequence. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason there is a thing named body positivity, because there's also somebody in this world, always is going to be, where somebody's being body negative. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or unrealistic beauty standards.
Yeah. So
what you're kind of getting at?
Sure. I just think that, if you want to teach your daughter about Jesus being the light, and there's also darkness, you can teach them as a baby is saying the light. You turn on the light. Light is amazing. Light helps us see. And darkness, you can say, you can turn it back on. I don't know. You can look when it's dark, you just turn the light back on.
So what you're saying is,
what I'm saying?
Especially as maybe they're younger, you can introduce body positivity by focusing on the positives, and then maybe as they get older, explaining the negatives.
Yes,
like,
because
what's this, maybe the pressures, like when you go to school, you might hear or see people talking negatively about themselves, but just like remember who you are.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, because you do want to be the one. I would say the goal is to be the one that approaches those sort of situations before they hear it at school.
Yes.
The problem is,
You don't want to plant that seed in their head. Is that what you're saying?
it's hard to say because it sounds like I'm saying don't be body positive to your kids, but I'm not saying that.
Okay.
But I'm also saying, depending on the kid's personality, it's gonna, if they're not super, I don't know how to put it. Telling Hazel she's beautiful and that she should appreciate her body for what it is amazing. But when she's 4 or 5, me saying we fight for body positivity, and you're going to hear a lot of people talk about a lot of negative things. And when they say that, or when they say that about you, you think about it in this way. I just think saying it that explicitly can almost, it would have put me in a bad headspace because I would have overthought that.
Right.
And be like,
'Cause you
oh
wouldn't have-
man,
and you wouldn't have fully
there is
understood it,
somebody
maybe.
that's negative about my body, or that's going to happen. Okay, I really need to think about my body in a good way. I really need to think about it. Okay, what's good about my body? Oh, wait, my body's not that great. And then I would have been like, okay, I got to make it great because I need to be positive about my body. I don't know. That's just what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't have done well with that, but I did do well with, using my body for sports and things like that. And you're right, telling me I was strong, things like that as a kid, like being confident in who I am as a person was one of the ways that I was confident in my body. Now, I am a man, and I know that women struggle with this more than men, although I did struggle with insecurity in my body. And I used to work out a little bit unhealthily because of that. But
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
what you're
But
saying
I always knew when I got into high school and I did struggle with body things, shaming and positivity, I knew that when I was a kid, I didn't think, oh, my mom told me I was cute. I'm cute. When I grew up, I thought, at the end of the day, I don't need to worry about if I have abs. I'm probably going to struggle with it and try and get abs. But I know that when I was a kid, I was valued for who I was. And people, if they value me for who I am, those are my people. And if not, it doesn't matter what they don't value, whether it's my looks or my heart or something I do or something I believe in. It's really, if I have an insecurity or they don't like something about me, I know my worth because when I was a kid, somebody told me my worth.
Yeah.
You should definitely say you're beautiful and things like that. But by the time they're an adult, what matters is the value that you placed on them. So did you place it a lot on their body? Because that could be a bad seed. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, like not focusing too much on the physical.
Like I say, you and Hazel are beautiful, pretty, cute every single day, multiple times a day. But when Hazel's doing something with rocks and all these sort of things, I'm like, wow, that was really cool what you just did. Did you think of that yourself? You're amazing. Like you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those are the things that I focus on. The things that you focus on,
Will be
which you're going to
exemplified.
remember when you're older.
Amplified, right.
Yeah. When you're older and you're struggling with body things, you're not just going to be fixed because your mom said you were beautiful.
Right.
You're going to be fixed because
you'll know who you are.
you'll know your worth isn't focused on that. So your body is made to do things that are amazing. And as you grow older, you should learn about that. And that should be a part of everything. The sex talk, all the, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the way you talk about sex, the way you talk about the things you eat, the way you talk about all of those things are going to be how you introduce body positivity.
Right. Instead
And
of
you
just-
should introduce it. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Something that we're learning to do is to give and offer dessert alongside Hazel's regular food. So we don't want to place this immense pressure or this immense praise even on the dessert that we're giving her, but we want to neutralize dessert. That dessert isn't something that needs to be earned. It's not something that you need to lose 10 pounds before you can have. It's not something that you need to shove a bunch of green beans in before you can have. It's just food. And so a lot of people might not agree with this, but we want to strive to teach her, okay, dessert does have a different effect than green beans, but it's okay to enjoy it all, And so That could be something that you try, maybe offering the cookie, or maybe it's even half a cookie. You get to decide what goes on their plate ultimately. But giving the cookie along with their food could be a small thing that is telling your daughters or your kids that food isn't good or bad. And that could be something that would change the way that they think about food, which would inherently affect their body image. Yeah. But ultimately right now we're focusing on modeling a healthy body image, like modeling how we speak about ourselves. And even just for our, like, of course we should want to do that for ourselves, but I am so much more motivated now that I have a daughter and I know that she is going to mimic me. And I want to help instill in her things that I wish were instilled in me.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot that could go into it, and we're not experts, Hazel's a year and a half, but these are just the things that we've started the conversation on that I think we're going to implement, and things that we have already implemented. I don't necessarily think we're going to sit her down and be like,
that's what I'm talking about.
I get that now. Like, I don't think we're ever going to sit her down and be like, all right, Hazel, you're beautiful. We're going to be body positive. It doesn't matter what other people say, but more so just incorporating it into our everyday life instead of putting all this focus on we need to be body positive. Is that what you're saying? And just making it who we are.
Yeah. And I will say the world is headed in a good way with this because, in some of our books, her books now, it's not always a white kid. It's not always, there might be a disabled kid in there. And when I was a kid, I was not exposed to disabilities barely at all.
Right.
And it's not like my parents were like, we're going to shield them for disabilities. I just wasn't around it a lot. And so when I was in 4th or 5th grade, like Down syndrome and autism, disabilities like that, you're in a wheelchair, you might be missing an arm, any of these things, I didn't understand how to comprehend somebody else's body being like that because I'd never seen it.
Right.
And I watched these videos, special books by special kids on YouTube, and he interviews him and his wife or girlfriend, whatever. They interview people that look different, that have syndromes and things like this. Some of them even being as simple as Tourette's that everybody knows about, and then some that nobody knows about. Burn survivors, things like this, like people that look different that you don't see, I think is good also to expose them to that sort of thing. Like, hey, let's watch, this interview, like when they're a little bit older, this is cool. Somebody that's overcome this thing that you think would hinder their life, but has actually made it beautiful in their family.
Right.
And I wouldn't even say anything about the body. If your kid was like, wait, that looks weird, or they look scary, or just whatever it is.
Questions.
Yeah.
And just talk about it.
That's a valid question, right? Because you look different than each other, but God, you're both human. And look, they're communicating in a different way. They might look a different way, but they're on a screen for a reason.
Right.
They're special in a way just like you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Paxton,
and they're normal in a way that you are.
Yeah. And Paxton brought up a really good point with just diversifying what your kids are seeing on TV, what school, if you can control what school your kids are going to. And this is more so talking about like ethnicities and stuff like that. Like, I think there's going to be hopefully a wide range of different body types, because that's just, every person, no matter what skin color you have, no matter if you have a disability or not, will have different body types. But being intentional to diversify in that way could also positively affect their body image. So we were really intentional. Something as simple as like the school that we chose for Hazel, because we had, it's not like it's somewhere she was zoned for. It's private, so we had some choice in that. Like, we wanted to make sure it was a diverse school. But even so much, like, I think the world, if we're talking about the physical image, the world has so much, like, we have so much, we still need like work we need to do, but we have also come a long way with having just a little bit more diversity in the main characters that we see on movies, but even having just different body types represented in the books that you're buying for your girls or for your kids. And so things like that, making sure diversity all across the board is represented as much as we can. So yeah, I really love that point, babe. And the time is coming close to 3:00. I'm actually about to go do a photo shoot with my friend. So we do need to wrap this up. And I think Hazel is going to wake up soon anyways. So this was really, really fun. Thank you, Paxton, for being a part of this.
Thanks for letting me be on it.
Even though, you know, you didn't know about the questions, but I don't even feel like it's like Paxton's always going to be in my videos. So, but I do appreciate you taking the time to do that. But yeah, if you are watching this on YouTube, I hope that you would like and subscribe. If you enjoyed it, comment something, engage with us. We'd love to interact with and chat with you guys in the comments. And if you're listening to this
Spotify,
on
download,
Spotify, yeah,
add, playlist.
leave a review.
And we have a bunch of episodes before this. So
yeah,
if you're
go
on
ahead and
YouTube,
binge that.
yeah, we have some episodes that we've talked about certain topics that you might like or have questions about too.
And
So
if you are listening to this on a podcast platform, then that would mean that we have successfully done this. There is a slight possibility that might not be a thing, and that's okay.
yeah,
if
it's easy to
just on
press
YouTube.
record on a video camera, but
But we'll figure it
it's
out
kinda hard on the
very
microphone.
shortly. But I think either way, it'll be good.
Sure.
If it's just on YouTube or if it's on both platforms. We are so thankful you guys joined and I kind of had these conversations with us. We really want to do this more often, have more things on my channel, on his channel that we, kind of show on YouTube and also on our podcast. So
yeah.
if you're watching this on YouTube, our podcast can be found under Barkduels Unplugged. And if you're listening to this on our podcast, you can find my YouTube under my name, Miley Barkduel, or Paxton's YouTube. He also has a really fun YouTube and it's under his name, Paxton Barkduel. And you can also find us on Instagram under those names as well. We hope you have an amazing day. Thank you so much for joining us and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.